Hey, what's up? This is your boy, Asiago, on 3 a.m. Thoughts. Whew, okay, so, actually, originally I wanted to record, quite a while ago, but the thing was that, I got stuck playing Minecraft. Yeah, shoot, like, I've only been playing this game for, like, a couple of days now, and I gotta say, it really does take quite a bit, for me to actually get this addicted to a game. And and I really like it. There's, so far of all the different kinds of games I've played, there's really nothing like it, and that's pretty damn cool. Like there's endless possibilities with this game, and I love exploring them. Hell, freaking, I'm in creative mode, so shoot, and golly. Like, the very reason why I love this game is ironically the reason why I, kept myself from playing it for all these years. Because I thought, oh, well, there is no story mode, there is no, like, goals in the game, like, what the hell do you do, how does that not get boring? Well, I'm over here, freaking getting all excited about literally just building a giant wall here. As a matter of fact, I'm almost done with my wall here. I'm almost done with the basic building. What I did was I destroyed an entire area, tried to flatten out, but really I just made a bunch of craters. And then I decided, oh, what would be funny? let's encase it in a giant cube, and that's what I'm doing. I'm freaking making this giant wall, 256 blocks high, and I'm just surrounding the damn thing. But actually, when I look at it, it may or may not be big enough for me to make my full-scale Walmart. I think I still might just make my Walmart to the side or something like that. But still, like, for real. I'm enjoying, just playing on here, just building stuff. And ironically, for the longest time, I kept myself from playing it because I thought, oh, well, I don't want to be bored. Shoot. And plus, it kind of like, with Fortnite, it had like it had kind of a cringy fan base, so I didn't really want to, for the longest time, I didn't want to associate myself with that, so, that's, kind of stupid and all, but, so here we go. Alright, so, what do I want to get onto? Well, I want to start things off with with this funny meme that I saw. Well, it wasn't really a meme. Let's see. It was a post on Facebook. Look, here's the thing. I'm not exactly a geography buff. Kinda. Maybe in high school it was, but as far as geography goes, it's always been one of my favorite subjects, and I really do like it. I don't know. That's my thing. I love history. I love geography, learning about the world. And shit. One of my most favorite things is the age of imperialism. Let's see, on Facebook I was looking I was looking through these pictures about who conquered what. What did the Nazis conquer? What did the Romans conquer? What did the Spanish and the English conquer? And shoot, and seeing all the places that they've conquered. First of all, I knew the Spanish conquered a lot. Pretty much, like, literally the majority of the New World it is Spanish, with the exception of America, Canada, and Brazil. But except for those three large countries, like literally the entirety, the rest of the entirety of the Americas is Spanish, and you got the Spanish Empire to thank for that. The Spanish Empire going around, claiming lands everywhere from Guam, to freaking Italy, to Spain, to France, all the way to the New World. Like, wow, they definitely spread their influence everywhere. And that was the thing about imperialism back then, because that was kind of the whole point. Countries, especially small ones like Great Britain, which was literally just an island country, they saw that, oh wow, there's an entire world out there. Hell, there is an entire other side of the world that we never knew about before. So why not claim these lands as ours? Expand our country, expand our borders, expand our influence. Make it to where we become the next big thing in the world. And that's exactly, what these countries sought out to do. Hell, even Portugal, took their hand in it, and freaking look at Brazil. I mean, shoot. Although then, imperialism. Let's see. I mean, it was good, in a nationalist way, for people to want to spread their, spread their freaking patriotic views, to new lands. But the thing is that it wasn't always entirely good. Sure, and trading was good too, and the gaining of new resources, that was also pretty damn good. But the thing was that, God, you have the whole Africa situation. All these European countries, wanted a piece of Africa because they thought, man, look at this, look at this gigantic country that we hadn't tamed, before for some reason. I mean, there's certainly not a bunch of dangerous stuff over there, and there's certainly not people that have already, established their own kingdoms and stuff there. So why not, cut Africa into many different pieces and claim them as their own. And God, first of all, nation-wise, like, Africa is just a freaking mess, and God, like literally the mentalities of people back then, the whole idea of imperialism, what it drove them to do, yeah, that it was terrible. So imperialism wasn't all that great and all, but still, it's something that you can't really deny. It's something that you can't disprove. I mean, look at us here in America. Now, we are the result of English imperialism. Because you see, the English, being from, again, that tiny island they're from, they went all around the world. They conquered Australia, India, parts of the Middle East, parts of Africa, and and when they came to the New World, they took over Canada, or what would become Canada, and and they settled on the original 13 colonies, which would be the eastern coast of the United States. And then after before I get to the Revolutionary War, here's the thing, when the English, when they came over here, so did their people, and and what do people bring with them, when they come to a different country, from a different country? What they do is, they bring, their music, they bring their art, they bring their, their literature, they bring their culture, but most importantly, they bring their communication, they bring their language. And, is because of that, we're over here right now after the Revolutionary War, living in America. We're living in America. We're no longer living in an extension of, Great Britain. We're living in an independent United States of America. And it's beautiful. And so here we are, in America, speaking English. Us speaking our language is it's a very big, kind of a tribute to, to the English imperialism, because, here we are speaking, their language, despite the fact that we're not part of them anymore. And think about it, if it weren't for the English, like, literally, we here in America, even if we still became our own, independent country and all, like legit, we probably would still be speaking like Cherokee or Apache or even Spanish or something like that. But Great Britain came through, settled the 13 colonies. They pissed off some people. They broke apart from them, made America, and then America just expanded along with the language, along with the base language that. That was brought, from the old world. And so here we are today, speaking, this language from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, and even to as far as freaking Guam and Hawaii and Alaska. Shoot, like, again, and those places have their own, they have their own original languages, they have their own, separate cultures and stuff, but it's because of what the Great British, planted, the seeds that they planted, and and the work that us Americans brought through. It was because of all that that's why we're here right now. Geographically speaking, even geopolitically speaking. So that's a little thing I wanted to start off today. It wasn't supposed to be like necessarily the big topic, although I could I mean, I would go on, but I can't really think of anything else to speak upon that matter. Shoot, and too, there's another thing I want to talk about today. That was kind of, like kind of the icebreaker. It's something I had on my mind, and I just wanted to, speak about it. And what did I really want to talk about today? Well, today was actually a pretty damn good day at work today. I mean, the best one we had it in a long while, especially during this, time of, Corona craze and being an essential worker. Of course, you're having to serve the community. You're having to serve the people, and to do that, especially in this time of craze, you got to work extra hard. They bring extra trucks. They with so much stuff that people from automotive, Cap One, and daytime, they all help us out. To get all this stuff done. But surprisingly, and even when it's not Corona time, this is still surprising. It was surprisingly a no truck day. We got no GM trucks. We only had a couple small grocery trucks, and that was it. Hell, that was literally it. I think we had a third grocery truck, but of course, during this whole craze, the third truck probably had all the napkins and the toilet paper and the cases of water, and the morning people probably took care of that first. But still, it left us with just the two small grocery trucks. Now that is remarkable. I came in at work today. It was 1 p.m. I was ready to do my normal thing, and then I looked over because the time clocks are by the break room, and the break room is right between both grocery and GM receiving. So after I clocked in, I took a look over there at GM receiving, and I noticed there weren't any pallets built, over there. Not built. There weren't any pallets stacked over there, and I didn't see the machine or the box, or I didn't hear the machine. I didn't see any boxes moving, and I didn't see any of the automotive guys there. So I thought, oh crap, what's going on? Either they finished a long time ago and they're just pulling everything out now, or freaking they didn't start the truck. And I know they didn't start the truck because if they would have, then there would have been pallets of freaking mixed grocery freaking along in front of the break room and out on the sales floor. But there wasn't. So I got my big speaker ready. I got all pumped and I was excited. I was like, oh yes, the freaking energy drink started kicking in. I'm like, man, I'm gonna set up the truck. Shoot, I'm just gonna hide in the truck, just go ahead and throw it, because it's been a long time since I actually threw the truck. And wow, man, I was getting so excited. I was like, man, maybe Automotives is maybe they're taking a lunch or something like that, maybe they're doing something else, but I'm gonna set it up, I'm gonna get all excited, I'm gonna get all ready, and then freaking somebody walks by, rains in my parade, saying, oh, there is no truck today. I'm like, what? You're telling me, for the past 30 minutes, I've been setting up the entire back room, getting ready for a truck, and it was pretty much entirely ready, and it was all for nothing? I mean, my God. Sure, yeah, I was still saddened by the fact that I was like, oh man, I really wanted to throw a truck today. But then at the same time, hell, I knew it was going to be a freaking easy day, because it's a rarity. It's a freaking rarity that we have no truck days. And it was pretty damn crazy. I got really excited by the fact that, oh man, shoot, if all we have is grocery today, and I saw that it was already, some of it was already pre-done for us. Wow, we're gonna get our stuff done fast. But then I thought, oh, but they're probably gonna put us in frozen dairy or something like that. But shoot, but either way, easy day. We're gonna get our stuff done. Probably gonna leave at 10 or something. And well, actually, a lot of us ended up leaving I think everyone ended up actually leaving right at 11, and it was a pretty damn good day today. Shoot, there wasn't too much stuff. The pallets went by pretty damn quick, because it was actually stuff that needed to go out, and it was all fine and dandy. And then they had us by after lunch, every single one of us, we were taking care of the bins in the back room, all the overstock from the past that may or may not actually be overstock anymore. And so we were taking care of that stuff, and that didn't even take long. I mean, sure, there was a lot of stuff in the back room, but that didn't even take us very long because of the fact that, because everybody had their own couple sections that they needed to do, and we got them done. Hell, I mean, shoot, like we all just ganged up on our own little sections, took care of them, and it was all Gucci from there. But also today, we got a new guy, and I got to train him today, and he's a pretty cool dude, shoot, like, man, like usually when we get a new guy, it's for me, it's a hit or miss whether this person is gonna be, first of all, a good worker, and second of all, just a good teammate in general. Because here's the thing, I mean, that's the thing about I like about when new people come in, new blood, new possibilities. Is this guy gonna be good? Is this guy gonna be bad? Is this guy gonna be friendly? Is this guy gonna be another person that I can laugh with at work, or is this gonna be another person that I laugh at? And shoot, trust me, we had plenty of those. Like, for example, we had this one guy. He let's see, he wasn't the best of workers, but shoot, like, he tried his best, but everybody made fun of him, and some because we just saw, if you saw it as legitimately funny. Other times, it was kind of screwed up, but hey, I mean, what else do you expect from an entire team of freaking people with dark humor? So this guy was named Sean, but we called him Bad Sean. Because like he was just super slow and stuff, and he would always complain and always have this excuse saying that he was so bad because of like it wasn't cancer, it was like diabetes or something like that. I don't know. But then again, we probably would have cut him some slack if it weren't for the fact that we had a freaking woman with Parkinson's, doing work much faster than he did. If you're listening to this right now, Sean, don't take any offense. That's just something that I've noticed. I try to be cool with everybody, and that's the thing. I mean, I like sometimes I may just have some dirt on people. I'm not gonna blackmail them. I'm not gonna mess with them because hey, I want to keep things clean and calm at the workplace, and plus I want to be nice. I'm not looking to pick fights or be mean or anything like that. Although sometimes I want to be mean, but I'm pretty much at work I gotta keep my cool because I kind of like having a job. I like having the ability to pay my bills and stuff. I like being able to freaking live the life I live. So anyways, so the other guy. So this guy was actually more recent, by that I mean like shoes. I think it's been like 6 months since I saw this guy. Actually, yeah, I think it's been 6 months since since this guy worked with us. But he didn't work with us for very long. I think he worked with us for maybe like a couple of weeks, and then he got fired, and for a very, very odd reason. It wasn't very odd when you considered what he did, but shoot. So what happened was, let's just say there is a reason why we called this dude Jerk Off Jerry. Okay, so from the start we knew he wasn't. Let's see. He was kind of slow. Let's just put it at that. He was kind of slow. Not gonna say retarded. I am gonna say slow. Not just because I'm being nice, but also because of the fact that, well, that was just it. He was just pretty damn slow, and and on top of that, let's see, it was his first job, but I mean, even to any newbie, to the workplace would realize that, you don't take 2-hour lunch breaks. I mean, unless you're told to, and you don't just randomly go to GameStop, in the middle of the workday whenever you feel like it, or you don't freaking just walk around the store not working. I mean, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of why you even came to work. Shoot, and this dude, he not only would he walk around the store a lot, he would also just go to the restroom a lot, and I mean, and that's kind of a normal thing, here at the workplace. I mean, you have a lot of people that just go use the restroom a lot. It's just a thing people do. Whether they want to pass time or whether they just want to, get away from work and just play on their phone before break or after break, whatever. It's kind of like just a personalized break. But here's the thing, though. We had no idea what this guy was actually doing in the restrooms, until freaking oh god. So until one of my coworkers, he went to the restroom at the same time he did, and he happened to look down at the shadow, that he casted, in the stall next to him, and he saw the motions. No doubt this guy was stroking it in the freaking restroom. Now, okay, at least, yeah, I mean, no, at least for this. This dude was jerking off at work. I mean, in the restroom, but still, like, why? Freaking why? Like, I get it. Like, I freaking get it. Sometimes, that feeling just hits randomly at work. I freaking get it. I understand. I am a man. I get those feelings too. And I also get it. There are a lot of pretty girls that shop and work at the store. So again, I am not surprised that you kind of want to, jerk your monkey, sometimes. But the thing is that, like, can't you freaking wait until, like, you get home? Or can't you wait till at least to your lunch break, and so you can, go home for lunch and do it then? Although, from my point of view, that would seem kind of weird because, well, oh god. Oh god. Okay, so I'm playing Minecraft right now. Somehow, this rabbit is on top of this structure. Okay, one just committed suicide. 2 rabbits that were fused into each other got on top of this freaking structure that I made. Well, it was 256 blocks tall. I don't know how he got on top of it. Must be a glitch or some. But it looks... What? Okay, anyways, back to the jerk off Jerry. So this dude, man, this dude jerking off at work. He couldn't wait till he got home, man. Shoot. And this guy, and he looks like he really couldn't wait till he got home, because freaking one day, because after the day, he was suspected of jerking off. Freaking, like, we definitely, well, first of all, none of us really didn't look at them the same anymore. But also too, like, we really wanted to, like, strangely enough, we wanted to see if this was true, because people make up stories all the time. Although the coworker that told us this is not the kind of guy that just make up stories. But I mean, here we go. We had no actual evidence that this guy did, but we suspected him of doing. And so, oh god, oh man, this dude, man. Okay, so none of us really believed, we didn't want to believe that he freaking jerked off in the restrooms, until one day he got freaking caught doing it again, but this time not from a shadow, because he thought it was a good idea to do it at the urinal. Why at the urinal of all places, I do not freaking know, but whatever the case is, he did it. And it wasn't a pretty situation, because here is what happened. The dude was yanking his chain freaking at the urinal with his pants all the way down. And let's see, and when a freaking minor was in there in the freaking restroom, I'm like, huh? What? Okay, first of all, if you're gonna freaking jerk off in the restroom while you're still on the freaking clock, at least have the freaking decency to do it in a more private place. Like, I get it. You want to spank your wiener. You wanna play with it. I get it. But if you must freaking take care of the need right then and there, why the hell would you do it at the freaking urinal? Why? Have you lost your damn marbles? Like, what? And then with your pants fully all the way down, while there are other people in there? Like, come on. Like, come the freak on. Oh my god. And no pun intended on the come either. So this freaking kid, he recorded the whole thing, he reported it to a manager, and he was immediately fired. Shoot, and then too, people, the managers, they wanted to fire him regardless because, of how crappy of a work he was, and all, but still, like, oh my god, It was so damn bizarre. So even to this day, we meme the hell out of this guy, man. And speaking of memeing the hell out of our freaking coworkers, shoot. So a few podcasts ago, I talked about Cap 2 supervisors, and one of our old supervisors, his name was Desmond, and shoot, and let me tell you, me and my squad at work, we meme the hell out. Oh god, we meme the hell out of this guy, man. Like oh my god, shoot, like I mean, how can we not? Freaking, from the way the guy talks to to the way to the lack of logic he has, like, my god, how could you not make a meme out of this guy? Shoot, so like, again, he didn't have the best logic, he didn't have the best anything really. He wasn't the best leader. He wasn't the best at thinking things through or doing things through. So I mean, out of the blue, not out of the blue, out of the bag, we just started memeing the hell out of him. For the most part, I don't think he really knew that we memed him as much as we did, but still, like, wow. God, like, for example, freaking you go on the Facebook right now. Freaking, we made a meme page out of him on Facebook. Freaking saying that he's so obsessed with the unloading the trucks. He's like, man, we gotta hurry up and do this, man. We got some trucks to do. Come on, man. What are you sitting down for? Man, you got to unload the trucks. You have no time for sitting down. Why are you crying every time I tell you to do this, man? Come on, man. Man, I don't want to stay. I don't want to stay and do your overstock, man. I'm gonna be here till 6 in the morning, like, every day, man. Shoot, so and stuff like that. And actually, we over here at 3am Thoughts, we will be giving him an interview, kind of like we interviewed Pumbaa. So get ready for that pretty damn soon. We're still trying to schedule the guy over here, but anyways, yeah. So anyways, back to this Desmond fellow. So today, me and my boy Dylan, we were stocking juice. We were just doing our thing, and then freaking and then all day, we were making all these Desmond memes. We're like normal. We were just saying our memes. Just saying our freaking lines, just making each other laugh. And then freaking at break time, Brandon, our current supervisor, walks in and he's like, "Hey man, I got a new guy for you to train today. He's a new guy. It's funny because things go full circle. So you trained me, and now you're going to train this guy named Desmond." And at first I was like, huh? Desmond? I'm gonna be training Desmond? Huh? But and he's like, well, his name is Desmond, and I'm like, what, for real? God, man, we were making Desmond memes all day, man, or should I say, mon? Jesus Christ, man. And so I had no idea this guy was here all day. Like, literally, I just kind of suspected that you only had the average people today, but shoot, so it was a nice surprise knowing that we got a new guy, and this new guy he's pretty damn good. Shoot, he learns quite well. He's a good learner, and he's a pretty cool guy to talk to. Pretty cool guy to to hang out with too. Like, shoot, like, like damn, man. Like, so he, in a way, he actually kind of reminds me of this, of a few other coworkers I had in the past that I was good friends with. Shoot, like, he's he's really cool. He's not he's not too weird. I mean, shoot, like, God, like, actually, he kind of, actually, for some reason, of all people, he really reminds me of this one coworker of mine named Dakota. Now, Dakota, he was, he was a pretty cool guy. Shoot, like, personality-wise, hey, he was pretty chill. Shoot, he was a dank memer, and he freaking, he was pretty much like, the rest of us in the group, except, he was, I'm not gonna say hardcore, but definitely, yeah, he was, for biblical sayings, biblical terms, he was definitely the light of the, the light of the group, because, he was, he was a good Christian boy. And this guy, I mean, shoot, like, let's see, I'm not sure if this guy's religious or not, but still, like, but he's still, like Dakota, he's still pretty damn cool, he's pretty damn chill, man. Like, he's really fun to talk to. God, like, I already know, like, I'm gonna become friends with this guy, like, really quick, man. And so, I mean, all day we were just talking about, freaking, specifically, childhood things. Specifically, just growing up in the 2000s. He says that, he feels like, he just wants to be stuck in the 2000s, and hey, I don't blame you. The 2000s was a good, it was a good decade. Like, it's kind of weird to think about just how, like, it's, like, God, how that decade is now, like, in the 20s right now. Shoot, it's funny because we're actually in the decade of the 20s, but I mean, the 2000s, was 20 years ago, man, and it was surely a different time. Surely a freaking different time. Like, compare, to how things are now. I mean, just take away all the disasters that 2020 has been giving us, and just compare the decades, man. Well, actually, I mean, right now wouldn't be too much of a good time to compare the decades, seeing that we're literally in just the first few months of the decade. Like, I would say maybe like 2023, yeah, we can make a really good comparison, but still, like, damn, like, it was just a really bizarre time. Like, physical media, was definitely, like, the big thing. The way, we did things, it wasn't as quick or simple, because, I mean, the internet did exist, but it wasn't, it wasn't as developed, or, it wasn't as, it wasn't the way it was, when the 2010s came along. It surely wasn't. Freaking... Because, like, definitely, I mean, the internet's existed for a pretty long time, but it really wasn't until the 2010s when the internet started really changing things up. And so, like, it's as if the 2000s was, like, the last, like, per se, it was the last, oh God, like, how do I say this? Like, I'm not gonna say non-internet culture, but at the same time, I kind of do want to say that it was the last non-internet culture decade out there, because again, you have the 90s, and you have the 90s too, but because the internet also existed then. But the thing was, though, the internet then, it was big, and it existed at the time. It wasn't like, I don't know, it didn't like sweep away the world the way it did, the way it did in the 2010s, and the way it does today. Like, the internet completely revolutionized it, completely re-influenced it, completely changed, how we do things, how we work, how we play, how we do things, how we order food, how we order stuff online, how we get things done, and how do we leisure around, how we freaking watch movies, listen to music. It's everywhere, and it's affected everything that we do. And the 2000s was kind of like the last era, to not be so affected by it, or at least, yeah, it was like kind of like the last era to not be affected by it. So therefore, you have this, like, raw, not community, this raw culture, not so much influenced by, the popularity or the, or just the existence of the internet, but it more so influenced by, by each other, kind of like generations past, because people were they were more social, but, back before the 2010s, like ideas are spread, and see, between person to person, and it was spread between, paper media, television, radio. Shoot, like it was like the 2000s was truly the last time when, if you wanted to be caught up on things, you had to like you had to actually, get it from someone else. You had to get it from something or someone else. And these days, if you want to be caught up on things, you literally just pull out a freaking device from your pocket and you look, and shoot, and on top of that, you can look at just what you want to look at instead of having to freaking wait for the news, to get to where you actually want to get to, or freaking skim through an entire newspaper, or even listen to an entire person's entire story before he gets to the freaking point. Like, shoot, like, that's the thing, that really does separate this decade from the 2000s, and what makes it so different is that, definitely we're living in insta culture right now. I'm not talking about Instagram. I'm talking about instant gratification. Instant messaging. Instant everything. Everything has to be instant now. Shoot, like everything just got to be as quick as possible. And if it's not, it sucks. And that's the kind of mentality that the very convenience that the internet has is brought to us here in decades and in decades to come. But the 2000s, though, it was just more of a raw time, man. Like, raw, unfiltered, like, non-instant gratification time. And wow, like, and I grew up in the 2000s, and so do a lot of the people that I work with. We grew up in this, in this really strange era. It's truly the 2000s is like, it's definitely more something of itself. Because here's how I view decades. Decades are, a decade within itself would be kind of like a mixture of the decade before and the decade after it. Like, for example, if you look at the 1980s, like, definitely just think of it technology wise, culturally wise, politically wise, geographically wise, everything wise. It's kind of a mixture of the 1970s and the 1990s. You look at the 90s, it's kind of a mix of the 1980s and the 2000s. You look at the 1960s, it's a mix of the 70s and the 50s. It's kind of self-explanatory that it's kind of obvious that that would be the case for decades. But the 2000s, though, like, it's a strange time. It was kind of like its own thing. Like, it was more so kind of like, the 1990s up until, like, 9/11 happened, which, that's whenever the 2000s really started becoming their own thing. It started not becoming so much like the 90s, or not becoming, it started being so much like the 90s, and more so it started being, its own decade, with its own identity, its own things that kind of like, truly identify it, to set it apart from the other decades. And that's really cool now, because here's how I view the 2000s, man. Like you like the 2000s is split up into three different sections. You have the early 2000s, which are more reminiscent of the 1990s, which would be from 2000 to and even a little bit after 9/11, and then you get to like 2003. Shoot, definitely a lot like the 90s, but at the same time, it was an era of change, but not too much change though. So that's why it was more reminiscent to the decade before. But then you have the mid 2000s, which was 2000 from 2004 to 2006. It had definitely had more of its own identity. Being a lot more, definitely being a lot more of itself, rather than the decade before, or what would happen in the decade after it. It was definitely at the prime of its own like identity. And then you have, you know, from 2007 to 2009, which is definitely like it's the jump start, you know, into the 2010s. Because what made it jump start into the 2010s was, you know, with the introduction of smartphones, you know, with Steve Jobs' iPhone, and the whole changing of the digital and technological landscape. Like in 2000, like after 2010, 2007, the entire decade went to like a, you know, it jumped into hyperdrive, because, you know, things started to change really quickly. Like from technology to the music to the culture. Like we were introduced to the smartphone thing that, you know, at the time it was just a cool invention, but it really changed on how, you know, we did things. Because for the first time ever, well, not for the first time, we had Blackberries, but I mean, the iPhone, the first smartphone, it was like, it was like a perfected version of the Blackberry, you know, of us having these capabilities of music and, you know, and the internet from the palm of our hands, but in a more composed manner, in a manner that of which would definitely affect the way, you know, we as a society, you know, would, you know, view the world, how we would see the world, how we would interact in the world, and that's freaking bizarre. So how does exactly does this actually connect with, you know, what we were talking, what me and new Desmond were talking about today? Well, you know, we you know, he just brought up a bunch of like nostalgic things from the past, and it just, again, like anytime anybody speaks anything about the 2000s, it just, I don't know, it just still boggles my mind is how so different, you know, the 2000s is compared to, like, you know, the other decades so far in the, you know, in the new millennia. Like, freaking wow. And just how much stuff actually freaking changed, and not just in the 2000s in general, but also like, you know, also in my life, because growing up, you know, shoot, like, I'm so glad that I grew up, you know, with the cartoons I did, because wow, like, I mean, not saying that modern cartoons are necessarily bad, it's just that for the most part they're just like cringy, you know, there's less substance, you know, there's less heart, you know, being put into them. But then, like, you have the 2000s, like, wow, people just put their freaking hearts into everything. Like you definitely, when you look at 90s cartoons, it's like the, you know, it's like the perfected version of, you know, the cartoons we had from the 90s. And actually, and that's another thing I want to add to the whole thing about the 2000s, was the fact that the 2000s was like the age of, you know, perfecting what we had from before. Like, you know, let's even go to video games. Like, what was the GameCube? What was the GameCube? What was the PS2? What was the Xbox? They were perfecting, you know, 3D gaming, of which we already had back from the late 90s. Because in the late 90s, that stuff was birthed, but in the 2000s, it was when they were perfected. You know, you have rap music. You know, you have the old classics, you know, from the 90s, and the 2000s was when they were really perfected. Now, you know, let's see, if you prefer 90s music, I get it. You know that within itself, it had its own unique sound, and I really like it too. But the thing is, though, I'm also kind of saying it from a biased point of view, because because freaking 2000s rap really does give me a real nostalgic feeling, because, again, I grew up around that stuff. You know, I grew up around Juvenile and, you know, 50 Cent and stuff. Shoot, so yeah, so I mean, of course I'll be biased, you know, and be super nostalgic when it comes to that kind of stuff. So anyways, and shoot, and even freaking the internet, you know, with the internet, the smartphone. Well, I mean, not the smartphone. The internet. You know, the internet as we know it was birthed in the 90s, but it was perfected in the late 2000s, and it evolved in the 2010s. So as you can see, the 2000s was definitely like not so much of a growing ground or a pioneering age, but it was more of a time when things were getting perfected. And so this brings me back, you know, the cartoons we were talking about, because man, like, like, because we were just talking about all the old cartoons, you know, from Nickelodeon, Disney, Cartoon Network, you know. We're all also beyond cartoons. We're also talking about the old TV shows, like, you know, Zack and Cody, Drake and Josh, freaking Courage the Cowardly Dog, freaking Ed and Eddie, you know, Regular Show, all these good shows that came. Well, actually, I think Regular Show came out in the 2010s, but that's beyond the point. But we were talking about all these old shows we grew up with, all these old cartoons, and man, like, it just reminded me of how different the 2000s was, of how, like, great, you know, how great the media we had back then was. Like, wow, even beyond, you know, a nostalgic point of view, beyond a nostalgic eye, like, it was surely a very different thing from what we have today. Like, it's more genuine, you know, it's more closer to its roots, you know, and I think that's the thing that, you know, we've lost, you know, about you know, cartoons here in the 2020s, and, you know, and yeah, the 2010s and the 2020s, is that, like, you know, and actually, you know, it goes beyond cartoons. It goes even to just, like, how everything is in general. I mean, shoot, like, here we are in the 2020s now. I mean, okay, really, things aren't the best right now, but, like, let's look at it from other points of view. Let's take the damn coronavirus out of the equation entirely. We are living in a really great time right now, and possibly the best time in human evolution so far. Like, we're living in the best time right now, and of course, you know, it's the most modern age. Why wouldn't it be? Like, I kind of lost my train of thought, but let's see. But, like, okay, so we're living in, like, the best possible you know, era to, you know, to be in. But the catch is, and the expense of it all, is that we've lost our roots, you know, to the things we had before in the old millennium, in the old decades of the past. You know, we've lost touch with the you know, with the roots that we had from back then, because, you know, we're over here, you know, wanting to become something new, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to become new, with wanting to, you know, be different, you know, to wanting to, you know, kind of break the mold and start fresh, you know, especially when concerning a new decade. But the thing is that when we do that, we lose touch of, you know, of what was originally there, and we replace what originally was there, you know, with, well, you know, what we have now. You know, instead of perfecting the things that we had from before, we're over here trying to make do, or trying to, you know, recreate that stuff with what we have now. I'm saying this kind of like in a weird, vague way, because it applies to everything, you know, not just cartoons and entertainment, but also too when it's from technology, to politics, the culture, you know, the fashion, to everything. You know, like, and I'm not saying that all this stuff is bad either. Like, I'm surely not. But what I'm really saying is that, like, we live in a time when it's just so, it's so different. You know, because it's so different. It's actually, you know what? It's because, and it's from and because of the fact that we're so different that, you know, we just lost our roots. You know, I think things are not the same, and it's because we're not trying to be the same anymore. So I don't know, it's just a very different time. And so thinking about the 2000s, it doesn't just bring back, you know, memories for me. It just brings back, you know, memories, well, not just nostalgic memories, but memories of a time when things were simpler, where things were different, where things were more rooted in, you know, in the times from behind. But here we are, you know, in the second decade of the new millennium, of this new century, and, you know, it's pretty evident that, you know, by this point, you know, we were wanting to go away from the things we had back in the 1900s, and we're over here trying to pursue, you know, new outlooks, new things, in the 2000s, in the 2020s, in the 21st century. We're trying to look ahead. We're trying to think beyond. We're trying to go beyond. And again, that's all fine and dandy. But I mean, it just doesn't feel the same, when you just take the roots out of the equation. And for me, it kind of saddens me because, because again, when we let the things of the past, fall into obscurity, it's fun to remember them. But when they fall into obscurity and we don't practice them anymore, they kind of become this, this kind of cool idea that for some reason we just don't do anymore. And it's just it's a very surreal thing because, God, like, okay, I've really lost my train of thought now. Again, because it's well, actually, right now, yeah, it's literally 3 a.m. But shoot, like, and I'm kind of tired, and plus I'm building something in Minecraft right now. But shoot, like, again, point being, the 2000s, man, it's such a different time, and I can't stress enough how different it was. Growing up in it, having fond memories of the stuff we had at the time, and even looking back at the things that I didn't experience, or didn't remember, or didn't get to really like, or wasn't really aware of at the time, because again, I was just a freaking kid. But shoot, like, wow, it was. I mean, I'm guessing this is what people that grew up in the 80s feel. Or how they felt, back in the 2000s when they really saw how different the 80s was compared to the 2000s. Here we are in the 20s, the new 20s, looking back on the 2000s, and now I'm starting to feel those kind of feelings because, not just feelings of nostalgia and just fond memories of growing up, but as well as just memories of just an entirely different time period. And again, things are more or less the same now, but the point is, it's just so different, man. Like, shoot, sure, we may not have freaking flying cars or anything like that, but damn, like, none of us would have expected that freaking smartphones would take over as much as they did. None of us would have guessed that freaking, that the internet would become so big as it is now. I mean, hell, like, damn, it's just, it's crazy. Shoot, it's just really crazy. Like, definitely, like, I mean, being a freaking, like, kid in the 2000s, I would have not guessed that remotely freaking things would be this way. It'd be the way they are. Again, not counting out any virus-related things. I would have not guessed that freaking things would come out to be like they are now. And it's it's really freaking crazy, man. Like, just wow. And this is literally, a 3 a.m. thought. It's cool. It's a genuine thought. Wow, just freaking wow, man. So here we go. Last 7 minutes of the podcast. So let's see what else I want to talk about. Let's see. I know in last episode I mentioned there was let's see what I originally wanted to talk about. It was a bit more serious, and I didn't really get to talk about it because my intro ended up becoming the main thing. And hey, that's all fine and dandy. But the thing was, I actually started thinking about it today. The topic I really wanted to talk about. And I've decided I'm not going to entirely hold off on it right now. I mean, I'm not going to entirely just hold off on it. Actually, well, I kind of am. Because the thing is that it is a very serious situation, and it's still ongoing. Like, freaking yesterday, I thought, I thought, hey, well, it's kind of a safe time. Stuff concerning the situation isn't really going on. Nothing is really going on right now. And, I think it'd just be a safe time to finally talk about it. I mean, again, freaking, I'm using this as a personal journal, but at the same time, other people are listening to this, and possibly the people, that I'm going to be, talking about, in the topic I want to talk about, could be listening to it too. So I kind of want to wait till it's more appropriate, to kind of document on it. And shoot, so like, let's see. So how do I explain it here? I say it's a more serious situation, and it is, but like it's not like it's a life or death situation. Rather, it involves, just a bit, of work drama, and not just your average work drama. Just drama with other people. God, freaking. Okay, here we go. It's more to me the last 5 minutes. Love triangles. Loss of interest and stuff, and and stuff like that. And again, I don't want to talk about it right now. Actually, I do want to talk about it right now. But first of all, I only got 5 minutes of the podcast, and I'm waiting for a better time to talk about it. Because I was actually going to plan on talking about it, tonight. But the thing was that freaking the person that I'm involved in this drama with, texted me, and she was telling me these things that that would definitely really change the course of how everything would be going. So I said to myself, you know what, this situation is still freaking going hot. It's been going on for freaking like almost 4 months now. So damn, I wanted it to just I wanted it to stop a long time ago, but that didn't happen. But whatever, freaking I'll just continue to wait, until it's a better time, to look back and document on it, because it's nothing too serious, but it's sort of an emotional, sensitive topic, and again, it's something that I want to make a personal journal out of. Let's see. Actually, now I'm really out of things to talk about. And again, freaking, it's 3 a.m., the only things that got on my mind right now is freaking, food, Minecraft, and the fact that I'm going to be getting on playing Spider-Man later, and me deciding what hentai I'm going to freaking, please myself to after recording this podcast. Sheesh. Well, what are we gonna talk about? Okay, well, it's the last 3 minutes of the podcast. I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it slightly short. So thank you for listening to my podcast. Thank you for making it this far. Let's see. There will be, it's been a while since I said this, or at least I think it is. I think it has been. Well, during this whole quarantine time, I'm gonna be releasing a new episode every single day, and so there'll be more collaborations with my group chat friends, and pretty soon, I'm trying to get, Desmond, and hell, I'm really even trying to get Uncle Larry here to come on the show. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So again, thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for listening. So here we go. This is Asiago with 3 a.m. Thoughts. Signing off. Have a good one.